So now I am going to give the sermon for today. So sit back and relax. Open your minds, open your hearts, open your ears, and let's dive in. I have two scriptures for today. The first one is James 2:14 and 17. What is good? What good is it for a brother and sister if they say they have faith but do not have works? Can faith save you? So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. The second scripture is Mark 11:23 and 24. Truly I tell you, if you say to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and if you do not doubt in your heart, but believe that which you say will come to pass, it shall be done for you. So I tell you, whatever you ask for when you pray, believe that you will receive it and you will have it. Now, the Saint Mark scripture is one of my favorites, but we are talking about determination. And if we have faith and believe and shall not doubt that we will have the desires of our heart, that's great. So faith without works is dead. So in order to have what we want, I must have faith, belief, and works. The works I am going to talk about is determination. I'm not talking about the works of you going to help a brother and sister, or you're giving of yourself. I'm talking about the works that you have to do for you, for your determination. We have a desire, be it for health, wealth, or abundance, or a partner. We believe we can get it, but we fall short sometimes because we stop too quickly in our efforts, in our determination in some cases. I find myself, stopping short sometimes just before I've had my full breakthrough. I think, oh, I have been doing this for a while. Things I get positive results. I can stop. I don't need to move forward. I'm good to go. And things just stop going in the direction in which I wanted to go. Spirit put the word of determination in my heart one Saturday morning when I was, at a low point. Most of you or some of you know that I'm dealing with cancer, and it's a roller coaster. Some days I'm up, some days I'm not so high. Sometimes it's painful. Some days it's, super fantastic. Well, let me stop. I am always super fantastic because that is a state of being. And I'm always mindful of what I put behind I am. So I'm like, okay, determination, got to be determined on whatever it is that you desire to have. And so I'm going to give you some ways to get that and how to make sure that you're determined and get the desires of your heart. So the scripture, James 17 says, so faith by itself with no works is dead. So let's talk about that. Well, before we start, I want to bring our minds around, where do we start? We start with our declaration number 4. And our declaration number 4 says, we believe in personal responsibility and that we create our own happiness or unhappiness as we live in harmony or discord with the natural, physical, and spiritual laws. The beauty is, if we created something that wasn't so great, we can create something new. We have that power. The power has always been given to us. It's just up to us to use it and to take it. So, by determination and a positive mental attitude, feeling good mentally, physically, that's how we can move forward and get the desires of our heart. But before I go and give you the recipe, I want to talk about some people who have, you know, gone through some obstacles and have been able to come out on the other side. The first one, and I've talked about him before, is S.B. Fuller, who was poor, didn't have schooling. Um, he grew up, really, really, really poor circumstances. But he was able, as he grew up, his mom gave him inspiration. He was able to make, $25,000 and he put it into savings. So the company that he had been working for wanted to sell. And he went to the owner of the company and says, I'll buy the company if you allow me. And I said, sure, give me a down payment of $25,000. Now, this is in the 1920s, 30s timeframe. So the $25,000 was a lot of money. Gave him about a week or two. So he said, I want the $25,000 now and bring me back 115. And then the company is yours. So he was working his butt off and he raised 115. But he was almost to his goal and he needed $10,000. So what did he do? He said, I can do this. I can do this. He got on his knees, he prayed and said, God, show me a sign, that I can make this happen get this $10,000. And said, okay, the first light you see in the district, and it's like 11 o'clock at night, of a business, go inside. So he said, all right, not a problem. I'm going to do just that. He stepped inside, he saw the light, he stepped inside of the building, and he made a bold step. He said, sir, how would you like to make $1,000? And the gentleman said, tell me how. He says, give me a check for $10,000. And when I bring your $10,000 back, I'll give you an extra $1,000. Guy said, okay, here's your check. And he was able to not lose his $25,000 and to buy the company. Pure determination. All right. So I thought since we are having President's Day, I would talk about a president also. Abraham Lincoln, one of our favorites. Abraham Lincoln, self-made lawyer, right? He had very little schooling. He didn't go to a university to become a lawyer. He studied, he read, he did all of these things that he needed to do to be able to overcome his lack of not able to go to school. He was poor and he had to work with his family to get, food on the table and things like that. But when we think about Abraham Lincoln, he was the 16th president, right? And being the 16th president, he had no college, no education, but he was able to lead the country in a wonderful way. And that's determination. Thomas Edison, 10,000 times he tried to make the incandescent light. He failed, but in his mind, it was 10,000 ways that it didn't work. My mom grew up on a farm, and I just want to give her props. She came to Washington, didn't have schooling. She wanted to get her GED. And what did she do? She studied all night, worked all day, did her motherly duties, and she finally got her GED. She didn't stop. So that's kind of how I look at things. And so I talked about work type of, things, accomplishing things. I wanted to bring it back to health. you know. So in 1981, Dodie Osteen, Joel Osteen's mom, developed lung cancer, terminal lung cancer. And in that lung cancer, they told her there was really no treatment. And, that will prolong her life for a long time. So she decided to go home. And what did she do? She got her some scriptures, she prayed, she asked for, guidance, and God led her through. And that was 1981. Today, 40 plus years later, she is still living without any help of chemo, without any drugs. So I'm talking about determination. So in your life, you have the power of bringing your life to where you want it to be. You have that power. You just have to have faith, belief, and a determination. So I want to talk about, a person that kind of stopped a little short in the beginning. So R.U. Derby and his uncle purchased a farm, purchased a gold mine, because it was during the gold time and everybody was going out there for the gold rush. And, the mine that they had, it was beautiful. It was making all of this gold and money. But then all of a sudden it ran out. And so he tried a little bit more to find another vein, couldn't find one. So they packed up, sold it to another person, and left. The gentleman that purchased his equipment hired a geologist. And the geologist came and looked and said, if he would have been just 3 feet, so 3 feet is from, not even knee to the organ, just 3 feet, he would have hit a vein of ore that was super profitable, one of the most profitable ones in the country. But he stopped short. That was a lesson for Arby. And he later took that lesson and became one of the most powerful insurance salesmen in the country. So those things can be done if we have the power and know we have the power within to get it done. So now let's talk about the keys of determination. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, many years ago, he's gone on to glory, wrote a book, Think and Grow Rich. He was hired by Carnegie to go in and interview all of these powerful men to figure out how did they come about success. And they found out, and he found out, and he wrote it in the book. This is something that he said, and I want you to take this into consideration. He said, faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. One has to have thought first, knowing what you want to do. Have faith that you can get it done, but you also have to have self-suggestion. You got to tell yourself that you can get these things done, because that's how it works. And I'm going to work this for you in a second. So here's the recipe. Not only must a person have faith, they must have self-suggestion. And they can do this self-suggestion. So, a person can say something like, what is it, that they're trying to accomplish a couple of times a day. Believe that they would do it and have emotion attached to it. Feeling and emotion is so important because we are all energy. And energy is what brings us the life that we have inside. And you also must visualize that which you desire. So thought, self-suggestion with emotion and feeling and visualization. So I'm going to tell you what I do in the morning. It's kind of, might be a little silly, but in the morning I get up and I look in the mirror, and this is what I do. I like James Brown. and I like that song, I Feel Good. So I get in the mirror and so this is what I do. I'll say, I feel good. Da, na, 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 na. I know that I would. Da, na, 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 na. I feel good because my body is healed. So good, so good. I feel good. Thank you, God. Dun, dun, dun. And I get down, dun, 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 dun. And I feel the emotion of knowing that the healing is taking place in my body. Now you don't have to be, that's how I do it. I mean, you can bring your emotions somehow, but get your emotions into the feeling that you desire. All right. So your minds are powerful, right? Your minds are very, very powerful. And I want to do a little example of powerfulness. For those who are in that are watching this via Zoom, I just gave a couple of people 2 pendulums and asked them to move them with their minds. One moved it from left to right, and one moved it in a circle. They didn't move it via their hands, they moved it via their minds. And I'm trying to explain and teach us that when we send energy out, our thoughts are powerful. They create our worlds. This is what we do every day, whether we understand it or not. So if you want to direct your life, start directing your thoughts. All right. So I want to leave you with a thought. This is by Dolores Cannon, and it's from her book, Between Death and Life. Now, if you ever want to know what happens in the afterlife or what happens on the other side, once we transition, that's a great book to get. It's called Between Death and Life by Dolores Cannon. And I want you to really hear the words that are stated here, because it's going to back up what we just saw. And it's stated, and I quote, anything that you visualize can be real. For you are the master of your destiny, of your own house, of your own vessel or receptacle, or any other way you wish to perceive the concept of a spirit being in a physical body. You are the master of your body. You are the master of your destiny. You create that which is manifest in front of you. You co-create here. And when I mean co-create, you are co-creating with God. That which you find in front of you is your own making and creation, whether on the physical or the spiritual planes. All must attune to this responsibility, for all are co-creators of their manifested destinies. We are co-creators, and I end quote. We are co-creators. We create our own worlds. It is up to us to do our own creating and not letting things just create because we are not controlling it. No mistake.